If I've been teaching you for any length of time, you'll have figured out by now that I'm a big fan of mind mapping, sometimes called concept mapping. And although I use those words interchangeably at times, they're different things. But for our purposes, I'm going to treat them much the same. I guess the opportunity has arisen in 2020 when I'm making this video to explain why I think it's so important. In 2020, we're facing the COVID-19 public health crisis. We've got people working from home, studying from home. And in history, I think mind mapping is going to be a really powerful tool for you. So the first video that I'm going to put to a lot of my students while they're working from home is this one. It's why use mind mapping. If I'm going to be asking you to use it a lot, hopefully I can justify it. And I guess I'm going to summarize why I use mind mapping and why I emphasize mind mapping so much in 2 words: it works. There's a huge amount of evidence supporting mind mapping as an approach to learning. I'll only give a glimpse of it here. There's a huge amount of documentation to wade through. In fact, it's something I think if I ever went back and did some more study, it might be on this. And it's something that I'd like to actually write about for history teachers. Mind mapping is hugely powerful. So let's have a little bit of a look at what is found in that research. And I've put up about 4 quotes or so here that I've dug out of research. This first study that I'm going to point out here, I just thought was a nice, quick and easy one. This research suggests that when you're using mind mapping and concept mapping, you tend to find you become more motivated, more connected to your work, and that the work you're dealing with, you assimilate it, you make it part of your own understandings more fully, and therefore you're able to complete more complex tasks better. Now, that's not a bad group of ideas, or bad group of outcomes, if you like. Mind mapping, according to this study, helps you stay focused and on task longer and more effectively. It helps you take information that you might feel distant from and make it part of your own understandings, assimilates it, becomes part of who you are and your understandings. It helps you to complete complex tasks at a higher level. And I think that's fabulous, and it's backed up by others. This study, when students create their concept maps, so it's when you create them, you make connections between the concepts as well as including the rules about basic skills. So you connect the ideas and get the basic information effectively established. And then when you share those maps, and I use tools such as Flipgrid, we often talk about our concept maps in class, when we share the maps, you engage in a form of negotiation between what your thinking is and what other people are thinking. And that skill in itself builds critical thinking skills. So the process by which you create the maps helps you build connections, establish strong basic understandings, and then sharing your ideas, articulating your ideas, helps promote critical thinking. Another study, they were looking at the effects of critical thinking, or the impact on critical thinking of concept mapping. And they found that the groups in their experiment that used concept mapping and mind mapping had overall better critical thinking skills than the group who didn't. They took into account different ages, different elements, and so on. And then they found, in fact, that the concept mind mapping group had significantly higher average scores, mean scores rather, on inference, inferring information, reading between the lines, and overall critical thinking compared to the other group. And they concluded that concept maps are effective tools in improving the ability of critical thinking. This last one I thought was really powerful. Really worth investigating some of the ideas here, and take a moment to read it. I don't mind if you pause these before I talk through it. In this particular study, the researchers found that there was a statistically significant difference in the score and the speed in favour of groups who mind mapped and concept mapped. They basically said that in terms of results and speed, the concept mapping mind map groups perform better than the others. So I guess what we can really say here out of this study is people who use concept maps are better and faster than the people who don't. And I think that's really interesting. So I've grabbed, if you like, cherry-picked 4 pieces of evidence here that support a pattern that's coming through quite a lot of pieces of evidence. I've been grabbing quite a few journal articles, all peer-reviewed, to try and see if there's evidence of what I've observed in my classes happening, and there is. And it's really interesting, by the way. I, for a very, very long time in my teaching career, and I've been teaching over 30 years now, absolutely hated concept maps. I think now that we've got wonderful tools like OneNote, we can concept map much better. And we can get much better results in history if we do it. So a little bit of a summary before I move on to one last piece of evidence. It seems, from my reading of a lot of evidence and my own personal experience, that mind maps increase motivation. Notice I've got question marks in here, probably. They increase the ability of students to deal with complex tasks. That certainly rings true. Critical thinking skills seem to improve. Results possibly improve. And there was one study that I looked at that was fairly technical, but they found a range of improvement in results of students using concept maps of between 11% and 34% in the tests they're doing. And that's quite a lot of improvement in grade. And concept maps may be more time efficient. So anything that says to me that you're going to be more motivated, you're going to have deeper thinking skills, that your results will go up, and you'll do it in a shorter amount of time, I think is well and truly worth exploring. So let's pick up on this last quote. A lot of the research that's done out there is done in the sciences. It's done in nursing, in medicine, in engineering. So to find something to talk specifically about history in schools, I thought was really fabulous. So this particular study, it's a little bit old, 2003, but this particular study concluded that concept map is a powerful strategy which helps you to construct deep understandings of the core historical concepts that you're trying to make sense of. It allows you to work with others or individually. It allows you to talk through ideas and allows you to establish, explore the meaning of and the connection between concepts. When you are interacting with the information in this way, concept maps force you to articulate your ideas about how they connect. They force you to question, to reason through why concepts are connected in the way they are, and to resolve, to reconcile the problems you hit as you go along. One of the reasons some people don't like concept mapping is it reveals the difficulties of joining ideas. It reveals those areas that you struggle to make sense of. Concept maps done well force you to struggle with ideas. And in fact, they help you to resolve, to reconcile ideas that you think are in conflict. They force you to think. So, by putting concept maps on the page or on the computer screen, these visual representations support you in making your ideas obvious, explicit, and clear. Therefore, they're thinking tools. So to sum up, why do it? Concept maps help deepen your understandings. They help build a sense of meaning. They help you make connection between ideas, and they help you articulate your thoughts. That seems pretty clear. They also may get your results up, and they might also be quicker in organising your ideas and help you to be more efficient in what you're learning. Certainly worth exploring. So the challenge that leaves us with is, how do we go about building effective and personally meaningful concept maps? If there is no meaning to you, they're not working. Concept mapping, I'm going to emphasize in this, should be challenging. If you're doing concept mapping well, you'll probably find bits of it hard. And I really believe that we need to use technology to help us to develop our concept maps. And I want to show you a few ways to do that.